Hello everyone, this is Rush Recap here, and today we'll be talking about a French animated comedy fantasy adventure called Animal Kingdom. Let's go ape. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. The story begins with a massive ancient tree, where a whole tribe of monkeys lived happily together. And today was a very special day. The king's baby was about to be born. When the king walks inside, he sees his newborn son sucking on his mother's fingers. The king lifts the baby, smiles proudly, and names him Vania, a strong and healthy heir. But suddenly, his advisor Vladimir shows him another baby, saying, "Your Majesty, you actually have two sons, and this one was born first, so he is the real future king." The king looks at the second baby, tiny, weak, and fragile. Anger fills his eyes, and then the king's strange assistant, a witch-like monkey, arrives and says, "This baby isn't one of us. The tribe will never accept him as king. We should kill him." Shockingly, the king agrees. Vladimir takes the fragile baby outside to feed him to a wolf. He throws the baby down. The wolf jumps toward him, but the baby gets stuck on a hanging vine at the last moment. Just then, a kind-hearted monkey named Ian saves the baby. Ian tries to leave him behind, but the baby is hurt. His hand was broken by the wolf's bite attempt. Seeing him struggle, Ian puts him on a tree branch, but the baby crawls onto his back and refuses to let go. Slowly, Ian starts liking him. He decides to raise the child like his own son and names him Edward. Years pass. Edward grows up clever and curious, always inventing things. He even creates a small fan and other quirky tools. One day, Edward sees a mouse stealing his figs. He tries to catch it, but keeps falling over. So Ian gets an idea. He makes a sticky glue by chewing tree sap and blowing it, turning it into a strong adhesive. With it, they build a mousetrap. Right then, they hear loud drums. Edward gets excited. It's the day of the monkeys' famous Cocoa Ball game. He wants to go watch it, but Ian refuses. He had been banished years ago. Everyone there still calls him crazy. Edward says, "If they mistreat you, then show them your angry side. Don't let them push you around." But Ian still refuses, so Edward jumps down on his own. Ian has no choice but to jump after him, and they hide near the king's territory to watch the match. Prince Vania is now grown, big, strong, and unbeatable in the game. Everyone cheers for him, including the king. Ian becomes fascinated by the ball and jumps to catch it, making both himself and Edward fall with the ball into a crack in a rock. Everyone gets angry at Ian, but Edward uses a stick and cleverly pulls the ball out. All the monkeys are shocked. How did he do that? Edward proudly explains, "I used a special glue made from sap. It can grab anything." Vania picks him up, thanks him, and Edward says, "I have ideas to make Cocoa Ball even better. We can build a real field." But Vania says, "Here, the rules never change." Nearby, Vladimir and the witch see Edward's short toe, realizing he is the king's first son, the baby they were supposed to kill. Suddenly, because of the sticky glue, the ball gets stuck to Vania. All the monkeys try to pull it off. Ian and Edward quietly slip away. A monkey named Sergey finally yanks the ball free, but it slingshots into the air and sticks to the king's head. When Vladimir pulls it off, it rips off all the king's hair. The king roars in anger. Vladimir quickly blames Sergey to save himself. Sergey pleads, "Your Majesty, believe me. It's not my fault. It happened because of Edward." The king orders, "Find Edward. Bring him to me." The next day, Ian sits on a branch watching birds fly. He tells Edward, "Far beyond those mountains lies a beautiful green world." Edward doesn't believe him. Ian insists, "Even those birds are flying toward it." Just then, Sergey arrives and tells them, "The king has summoned you." Edward becomes excited and leaves with him. The king asks Edward about his strange glue. Edward proudly explains, "It's one of my inventions. Anyone can make it." He asks Ian to bring a lotus leaf, and using tree leaves, Edward crafts a beautiful crown for the king. Everyone loves it. Prince Vania looks toward the witch. He knows the truth. Edward is his brother, and he wants him gone. The witch quietly leaves to finish the mission. Meanwhile, Edward sprinkles water on the lotus leaf. It turns shiny like a mirror. He takes the king to it and shows him his reflection. The king jumps back in fear. Edward smiles and says, "Don't be scared, Your Majesty. That is your reflection, seen through water." The king is amazed. Edward then uses vines to build a high throne for the king. When the king sits on it, he can see far ahead, his entire kingdom spread before him. He is overjoyed. But far away, the witch chants dark spells and commands a swarm of locusts. She sends them straight toward Edward. The locusts attack the tribe. Edward slips while protecting others and accidentally pushes the king off the high rock. The king crashes down below. Everyone thinks the king is dead. The witch blames Edward, and Vania uses the moment he shoves Edward off the cliff. But the king survives and climbs back up. He is furious at Vania. "Why did you do that?" he demands. Vania replies, "He wanted to kill you. He had to die." The king roars, "No monkey kills another monkey. That's our law." Vania coldly responds, "Are you sure you've never ordered a monkey's death before?" The king freezes, shocked. He turns toward Vladimir, realizing he may have betrayed him. Vania walks away. A little monkey named Diego asks, "Mom, will Edward ever come back?" She replies, "No one who falls from this tree ever returns." The king sits silently, heartbroken. Down below, Edward lies severely injured from the fall. He tries to stand but collapses. Ian appears above him, but he does not climb down. The tribe believes the sacred tree holds their ancestral spirits, and leaving it will bring punishment. Ian is afraid to break the rule. Edward sees Ian not coming to help and painfully walks away on his own. Soon, he encounters two ostrich-like birds. Hungry, he asks them for fruit. The birds panic and back away. As Edward steps forward, he accidentally stands upright on two legs and realizes he can walk like this. He becomes excited. He's invented a new way to move. He sees many animals around him. He smiles in wonder, but suddenly, a pack of wolves charges toward them. Edward runs with the birds on two legs. The monkeys watching from the tree are stunned. Edward is running like a human. Edward races through a herd of rhinos. The rhinos panic from the wolves and start running behind him. In panic, Edward accidentally leads them toward the sacred tree. The rhinos begin ramming it. Just then, the king heroically returns and uses his strength to stop them. But one rhino charges straight at Edward. The king throws himself in front of the attack to save him. Because now he knows the truth. Edward is his son. Bleeding and weak, the king whispers, "I'm sorry, you are my son. I never told you." And with that, the king takes his last breath. Vanya coldly looks at Edward and says, "Father went crazy. You're not my brother." He shoves Edward aside and leaves with the king's body. Edward stands there in shock, realizing the king really was his father. Soon after, Vanya is crowned the new king. Vladimir praises him constantly. "You are great, mighty, the best king, much greater than your father ever was." But Vanya isn't impressed. "You were supposed to kill my brother, and you failed. You're no longer my advisor." He strips Vladimir of his title. Vladimir's cousin Sergei celebrates. He becomes the new advisor. Down below, Edward and Ian face a growing storm. Dark clouds swirl, and a massive tornado forms, sucking everything in. The monkeys rush into their homes high on the tree, but no one lets Vladimir inside. He runs to the witch for help. She grabs his hand, then lets go. Vladimir is pulled into the tornado. Edward tries to escape, but he too gets sucked in. Inside, he sees terrified animals, and among them, a monkey family. A female monkey named Lucy gets separated from her loved ones. Edward sees her and instantly feels something strange, something like love. He tries reaching her, but the tornado drops him below. Lucy begins falling. Edward quickly ties a vine around himself and grabs her hand. They dangle dangerously from a cliff. Edward tries to pull her up, but the vine snaps. They plunge downward, but Ian swings in at the last second and saves them. Edward gives him a happy thumbs up. Ian copies the gesture, but the force launches him far away. Edward brings Lucy to safety. The storm ends, and peace returns. When Lucy regains consciousness, she panics and attacks Edward. He tries to explain, "I saved your life," but Lucy cries. She lost her family. Edward tries to comfort her, but she bites him and runs away. Ian comes back to Edward, but Edward is already in love, so he follows Lucy. For days, he chases after her. He climbs mountains using just one working arm. Finally, he reaches her. Lucy tells him her name. Edward angrily replies, "I've been chasing you for a whole week. I left my friend for you." Lucy sniffs him, realizing he's safe. She trusts him at last. She tries walking on two legs like him. Edward helps her learn. Soon, they sit together happily. Edward points at the horizon and says, "That's where I'm from, a giant tree, my home. Come with me." Lucy follows him. On the journey, Edward proudly says, "Everyone will love you. I'm the king's brother." They walk across lava fields. Edward uses a stick and accidentally discovers fire. At first, he doesn't understand it. He touches it and gets burned, but then sees how it gives light and realizes fire is powerful. With the fire guiding them, they head toward the tribal tree. The witch spots them coming. Everyone panics. Edward is bringing fire. The monkeys scream in fear, but eventually, they're amazed. Edward has returned like a hero, holding light, but Vanya isn't pleased. "Why did you bring fire here?" "We fear fire," Edward replies proudly. "Fire is our friend. It lets us see in the dark." But he accidentally burns a small tree. Everyone screams in fear. The witch yells, "Edward brought danger. He caused the storm. He'll destroy us all." The monkeys begin throwing stones at him. Sergei grabs Lucy and attacks her. Edward fights back, and they both escape. Vanya smiles. He's happy to see them gone. Far away, Lucy cries, "You said your family would love us. They attacked us. Where will we go now?" Edward thinks, then gets an idea. He leads her to the wolves' cave. Using fire, he scares the wolves away and drives them out. Lucy looks around inside the cave and smiles. It's big, safe, and perfect for a home. She finally feels protected, and now, she truly loves Edward. She kisses him gently. Up in the tree, all the monkeys gasp. They saw everything. The next morning, Lucy teaches Edward how to pick fruit and throw stones. At first, he can't throw very far, but with Lucy's guidance, he slowly improves. Together, they gather piles of food until nightfall. From the tall tree, the other monkeys watch in jealousy. They start wanting to go down too. Soon, Edward and Lucy learn to make fire using stones and wood. They cook, they hunt, and they survive together. One day while hunting, Edward is snatched by a flying dinosaur-like creature. Lucy leaps, claws forward, and kills it to save him. Edward even tames a wolf to be their pet. That night, Lucy eats raw meat. Edward dislikes it, so he tosses the meat into the fire. It sizzles, spreads aroma through the air. Lucy smells it and loves it. They discover cooked food for the first time. The delicious smell reaches the monkeys in the tree. They become even more tempted to go down. But suddenly, the voice of the tree spirit booms loudly, scaring everyone. Little Diego follows the sound and discovers the truth. It's the witch, pretending to be a spirit to trap the tribe forever. She attacks Diego, trying to silence him, but the other monkeys rush in and save him. Finally, they all decide to leave the tree and join Edward. One by one, every monkey climbs down, leaving only Vania and his queen Gudula in the empty tree. Vania is furious. His kingdom is gone. Meanwhile, Edward accidentally steps on a hollow log, producing a musical sound. The others get curious and start hitting objects, making rhythms. Soon they create the first music, dancing, drumming, and celebrating a new life. Even Vania watches from afar, jealous and bitter. Years pass. Edward's tribe develops. They build homes, tools, and a village. Lucy is now pregnant, and Edward couldn't be happier. He sees Diego drawing a mammoth on a rock. Edward is amazed. Another invention, art. But far away, the witch awakens her army of locusts, ready for revenge. She releases the swarm, and they descend on Edward's village, burning and destroying everything made of wood. Homes turn to ash. The tribe watches helplessly. Sergei shouts, "This is Vania's doing. He attacked us." He manipulates the grieving crowd, turning them against Vania. Edward tries to stop them, but Sergei leads the angry mob to kill the former prince. Edward rushes ahead with his wolf to the old tree. He calls up to Vania, "Sergei and the others are coming to kill you. You have to listen." But Vania refuses. He will not believe his brother. Sergei points at Vania and shouts, "You sent the locusts. You destroyed our village. Now you will pay." The angry mob cuts at the roots of the sacred tree. Vania goes berserk. He attacks fiercely, taking them down one after another. The crowd, terrified, fights back together. Edward tries to stop them. "Wait, don't do this." But he's knocked down and thrown aside. Flames spread across the tree. Everyone gangs up on Vania. Sergei strikes him again and again, but Vania breaks free and knocks Sergei down. Edward suddenly notices Queen Gudula trapped on a burning branch. He races up, saves her, and carries her away from the collapsing tree. But a heavy branch falls on Edward, pinning him underneath. The fire roars louder. The tree is about to explode. The monkeys flee in panic. Edward screams, "Vania, help me!" The entire tree bursts into an explosion. The shock wipes out the witch completely. But through the smoke, Vania emerges, dragging Edward to safety. Everything is now ashes. Their ancestral home, gone forever. Vania stares at the destruction, heartbroken. "This was the tree of our ancestors." Edward whispers, "This happened because of me." Vania shakes his head. "It wasn't your fault. I was blinded by power. That's why I tried to kill you." Edward asks, "Then why did you save me?" Vania slowly stands tall on two legs and answers, "Because you're my brother." Edward smiles. The two embrace tightly. The entire tribe gathers around them. Lucy runs forward and happily hugs Edward. He survived. Sergei stands up and cries, "We have nothing left. Only desert. We'll all die out here." Fear spreads among the monkeys. Edward tries to calm them, but they won't listen. Everyone panics. Then Edward notices birds flying, heading toward distant mountains. Vania quiets the tribe. "Let him speak." Edward points ahead. "I know a place, a beautiful land, trees for everyone, waterfalls, fruits, life." Hope spreads in their eyes. The tribe begins their journey, following the birds. Days pass. They cross scorching deserts, until finally, they step through the sunlight beyond the rocks, and what they see melts their hearts. A lush green world full of waterfalls, forests, fruits, and life everywhere. Their new home. The monkeys cheer in joy. They rejoice at the new beginning. Among them stands Ian, alive, proud, smiling. Edward runs to him and hugs the one who raised him. If you enjoyed this wild adventure and want more epic stories like this, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing movie breakdowns.